Hey guys, welcome back to the FAtwA Center. This is a brand new question here, submitted and answered actually on the 28th of this last month. The question here is in regards to a Muslim couple adopting a non-Muslim child. So let's read the question. Is it permissible for a Muslim couple to adopt a non-Muslim child? I know that legal adoption is not allowed in Islam. Here the word adoption means guardianship, adoption according to the Islamic Sharia. So let's see the answer by the FAtwA Center. If by this legal adoption you mean that the child is traced back to those who nurture him and he becomes their child who inherit them, if they die and the like, then this adoption is forbidden in Islam. Well, I find that this is very sad because Islam will not allow a child to actually have a place of belonging. I don't think that just the nurturing, just nurture him, but, refuse him inheritance or refuse him your name, that he can't be traced back to you, is leaving a child to grow up in an environment where as an adult they're never going to feel that they had a place of belonging or had a true family. And I think that psychologically, this is not healthy. Let's read on. It says, however, if you mean by guardianship and adoption according to the Sharia, this is just nurturing the child and being kind to him without adopting him as one's own child, then this is desirable. This is desirable. And this is among the good morals. Look at this. It's a good moral. When there is a need for him, and in this case there is no difference if the child is from a Muslim parents or a non-Muslim parents. Okay, so in Islam, you're only allowed to have like a guardianship, adoption sort of idea, where you are doing nurturing and you're being kind to the orphan. So let's look back and see historically what Allah says about the orphans and adoption and how the Muslims were dealing with it, and Allah's chastisement in regards to what they were actually doing to these orphans. Let's go and look at the Tafsir of Ibn Kathir, where we're referring to the Quran, chapter 4, ayah 3, about orphans, marrying orphan girls. All right? Here we read, Allah said, if you fear that you shall not be able to deal justly with the orphan girls, then marry other women of your choice. Look at this. In other words, the Muslims were marrying orphan girls, little children, but they weren't dealing justly with them. So let's see what Allah says about that. Allah commands that one of you is the caretaker of a female orphan, and he fears that he might not give her a dowry that is suitable for a woman of her status. He should marry other women. Now this is troubling, because I'm not reading here that Allah at least is acting as the FAtwA Center is, and is referring to, dealing with nurturing the child and being kind to them. Instead, Allah here is only talking about giving them the proper dowry that's suitable. If you can't give them the proper dowry for her status, you should marry other women. And of course, these children are not women, okay? Because they're orphans. They're orphan girls. See? Orphan girls. Let's read on here. Let's get to the meat of the problem. Okay? We can read here that Aisha was asked a question. Okay? A man was taking care of a female orphan and he married her, although he did not desire to marry her. That girl's money was mixed with his, and he was keeping her portion from her. Otherwise, this ayah was revealed about his case. If you fear that you shall not be able to deal justly, okay, this is what it was. All right, and here's the solution, right? Okay, Aisha's asked a question. Aisha, about the meaning of the statement of Allah, if you fear that you shall not be able to deal justly with the orphan girls, she said, "O my nephew, this is about the orphan girl who lives with her guardian and shares his property. Her wealth and beauty may tempt him to marry her without giving her an adequate dowry which might have been given to another suitor." So here we see that the Muslims, they would take in orphan children, and perhaps these orphan children had some wealth. They had some wealth, her wealth. She came with wealth when she came as an orphan, and she had beauty. Okay, and that tempted him to marry her. Okay, so we're seeing greed on the part of the Muslim. Because he's wanting to devour the wealth of the child. And we're seeing that he's also developed lust for the child. Lust. She's beautiful, a beautiful little girl, and so he wants her. Okay? But he's not dealing justly. Okay, so here we read, so such guardians are forbidden to marry such orphan girls unless they treated them justly and gave them the most suitable dowry. Wait a second. So Allah here is allowing the man to marry these little kids as long as they treated them justly and gave them the suitable dowry. And of course, we'll read on that they want them to be dealt fairly with their possessions. But anyway, let's read on. Otherwise, they are ordered to marry women besides them. You can marry little kids if you deal justly with them here, okay? And you give them a suitable dowry. Otherwise, you have to marry women, other women. Don't marry the kids. I'm sorry, it's just too sick. Aisha further said, after that verse, the people again asked Muhammad about the marriage with orphan girls, and so Allah revealed the ayah. They ask your instruction concerning the women. Huh? Okay, I don't know why Allah is hiding now all of a sudden the fact that they're girls, okay? Because they're not women. They're orphans, remember? But somehow, I guess it sounds better, for the sin that Allah is allowing them to do if he refers to them as women. Let's read on. She said, Allah's statement in this ayah, yet whom you desire to marry, refers to the guardian who does not desire to marry an orphan girl under his supervision because she is neither wealthy nor beautiful. The guardians were forbidden to marry their orphan girls possessing property and beauty without being just to them, as they generally refrain from marrying them when they are neither beautiful nor wealthy. This is the morals of Islam. Okay? It doesn't matter that they're children and that, the FAtwA Center even, wants you to be just nurturing the child and being kind to them, okay? Forget about giving them a real home to live in and a place of belonging. But Allah here explains that you can marry these little kids because you have developed a lust for their property and their beauty, but you have to be fair with them. So, according to Islam, you're allowed to marry little kids. Okay. I think that's it. I feel very sad for any child that's adopted by a Muslim family in the Middle East who follow the Sharia law and follow the teachings of Muhammad. Their very physical selves are in jeopardy of being forced into a marriage by their caretaker. Wow. Scary. All right, see you next time, guys. God bless you all. Islam is false.